Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I am your host, Brandon.
And Justin.
And today we will be discussing part 2 of Lies of Locke Lamora. So, I'm excited to get into it. It's been a fun book so far, fun journey.
Yeah, what happens?
Definitely a change of pace from Brandon Sanderson. So, before we get into it, we are sponsored by Mudcat Whiskers, which is a Louisiana small business. We lost Justin for a second. They sell beard care products, candles, and as of this month, they are releasing their cologne line. So that's exciting. So you can visit them at www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code Paperweights to save yourself 15% on your beard care products, colognes, or candles. This weekend, I'm actually going to go out to meet up with them for their cologne launch party. And,
Oh, that's cool. That'd be fun.
Get to smell all the different scent colognes that they have. Yeah, so exciting about that. Speaking of colognes, we did have a winner for the giveaway that we did on Instagram for our 100th episode. Let me pull up that name real quick. And they won a signed Mistborn leather-bound book, a Hidden World Hopper Stormlight merch pack. I think they said they were a light weaver, so they got some light weaver stuff in that merch pack. And then a Bridge 4 t-shirt and a bottle of Mudcat Whiskers cologne. And so
nice little haul.
Yeah. Nice. Nice prize package. Let me see. Where is all right, the winner on Instagram was @_Sarah_Isabel. So congratulations to Sarah Isabel for winning the prize package.
Congrats. Thanks for being a listener.
Yep, it was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do another one when our YouTube channel gets 1,000, 2,000 followers, and we'll celebrate and do a giveaway. So yeah, if y'all are interested in winning stuff, tell your friends to go subscribe to our YouTube channel. And it's Paperweights Pod is the YouTube channel. So if you just look at it, I think you can do like www.youtube.com/@paperweightspod. I think that gets you to the channel. So share that with your friends, get them subscribed, and we'll see what kind of giveaway we can do and you get to 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers there. Speaking of the channels and subscribers, we appreciate anybody that listens or watches this. We do this for fun, but we do kind of want people to listen and watch it and eventually maybe join in the conversations on comments and whatnot. So don't lick anything without consent. Click that notification bell, subscribe, leave a rating, a review, comment where you can. And it really helps us to grow and will give you a chance to win some cool shit.
Yeah. And I just checked that that works at Paperweight's mod.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, just plug that in there. It'd be funny if I put the link for it in the YouTube channel. But yeah, there you go. I have
Yeah.
a just, infinite loop of going through the channels. So, uh, how's this week been going, Justin?
It's been going pretty good. Um, yeah, just working and chilling. I had to cram this book a little bit this week because I was gonna read this weekend and just didn't. I was, playing some video games and stuff, and I was like, oh, the day's gone. I need to actually get on reading. So it's been interesting. It was
Yeah,
it was good section. So
it was a really good section. I enjoyed it. I did not procrastinate, but let it go. Bit chunks here and there. Um, yeah, Saturday. Oh, well, other reading. I am a quarter of the way through Throne of Glass. So um, those short stacks are coming. Um, I have those first two that you did for Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel, and Throne of Glass. I have those videos. I just need to edit them and upload them so people can get to them.
yeah, they're really short little overviews. Are fun.
Yeah,
Throw it.
I listened to the Assassin's Blade one, but since I was reading Throne of Glass, I was like, I'll wait to watch this one until I'm done with the book. So
Yes, I'm probably a sixth of the way through, like Frown of Midnight, the third book. So maybe by the time you upload them, I'll be done with that one and be a big rush of podcasts for a little
yeah,
bit.
and then I'll borrow that book.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I the speaking of the weekend, I went to there's a brewery nearby, Gnarly Barley, and um, they called it Gnarly Prom Saturday night. So I took my wife and my mother-in-law, and we all went out to Gnarly Prom. It was fun. And they had some people dressed out. They had a dressed up. They had a little photo booth section, so you can go take pictures, and they had little, things on the picture, little frames and whatnot. So when you took the digital picture, uh, so kind of like you were at prom, with beer and everything. So
It
it's
sounds
fun.
fun.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's jump into it. We're in part two, so we're starting off with chapter four, titled "At the Court of Capo Barsabi."
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of weird. This is kind of it feels like the book starts in chapter four. And this part, it's like, yeah, yeah. It's like the Don Salivari game is like not really a thing in this part, which is interesting. But
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, yeah. A lot of crazy stuff happens. Yeah. So yeah, we start off. The gang is at their hideout. They're counting their money. They've been able to get a lot of coin from the Don. It's about like 26,000 Solari, which is their currency. And it kind of turns out you kind of learn that the gentlemen bastards are pretty rich, but they just kind of spend their money on doing more schemes. They don't really have a long-term goal. Like I think they said they have more money than the Don. It's like they have like 40 something thousand, but they just
yeah.
kind of
Whenever it was talking about it, it was like if you had like 10 crown a month or a year or something, you were considered rich. Anything more than that, like if you started spending any more than that, like you would really get noticed. Uh,
yeah.
so they have like what was it, like hundreds of thousands of coin?
I think they said like 40 or 50,000.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
like the Don, I think has like 50. So they're like as rich as like a Don of the city, which is pretty great. Um, yeah, then they're doing their like weekly tithe to Kappa Barsavi, who, if you remember, is like basically the head of all the gangs in Kamor. And they basically have to go. give what they've stolen, like a portion of it, to him as a tithe. They do a little thing where they usually just buy the stuff instead of stealing it because they have more time, and like it wastes more time for them to actually steal it. So they just go buy like trinkets and stuff. So then they kind of go off to see him. Um, yes, they go by boat. We get a lot more in this whole section about like the city. So we get some of the district stuff. We learn a little about the cauldron, which is like this very bad area that Bug came from. We get the wooden waste, which is like a area of shipwrecks, or like a bunch of stuff out in the. I guess they're in the ocean, and yeah. So
That's where the
that's
floating grave is, right?
yeah, and it's like basically like all the shipwrecks congregate and like like homeless people live out there and stuff, and it's super pretty cool. And then basically we find out that the Gray King has killed seven Garistas of Kappa Barsavi this year. So we kind of heard a little bit about the Gray King. We hear a lot more about him this section. So he's killed seven, and those are like pretty hefty gang leaders. Um, and they're like, all right, we kind of have to stay in town because if we leave, like we're gonna get found. So we're still gonna like because I think he's the more prudent person. He's like, maybe we should have a plan to get you out of town, Locke, because you are also technically a barista. And he's like, no, if we do that, it would give up our game with the Kappa. You'd probably like send people after us and we'd die. So we have to keep doing it. Yeah, they go off to see Harza, which is like this like he's like a pawn shop basically. They haggle some stuff. It's not really that thing important. Then we kind of like the mood of like the Kappa and everything, and they're all like freaked out, and like Kappa Parsavi's been like um you know locking up his daughter and doesn't want his sons to like leave the uh the place where they're at, like the broken tower where they're at and stuff. And it kind of Nazca tells like Locke to like, hey, because she's like, hey, he's kind of freaking out. You just go appease him, show you're loyal, uh, Pazan. So then he kind of goes and Captain Borsavi is torturing Tessio, who we see later in the flashback. Which is
Yeah, I was about to say that I just connected those two because I didn't go back and read these. I was like, Tall Tesso, wasn't that guy the leader of the half crowns? And yeah, it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
And that kind of ties into what I was going to say is I like how the flashbacks they they do that thing that some shows whenever they do the like um Game of Thrones used to do it. So when they were there like previously on, sometimes they would show something that hadn't been brought up in such a while just to get your mind, oh yeah, that happened because then it ties that something in that episode ties back to it. Um, but these flashbacks kind of do that thing where it's like, okay, what am I supposed to glean from this flashback? And did it pertain to the previous chapter or is it pertaining to the next part?
yeah. Yeah, they do that very well. Basically he's torturing Tessio, so rip him. He like throws him in the basically the Sarlacc pit. Where the Kappa keeps basically a Rancor deep in the water. We learn that his entire crew like don't remember last night. Oh wait, no, Tessio's dead, right? He's a guy. No,
Tall
maybe not.
Tesso was the Garista that was killed.
Yes, so he's yeah,
He's
sorry.
torturing.
He's torturing his like loyal guardsmen, basically. That's right.
Yeah,
Sorry. Sorry.
I had them written down here. If I
Yeah.
go up, um, Julian and Federico.
Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah. So Tessia is the one that died, the newest Carissa that died, and he's torturing his basically his bodyguards. and they all seem to have no memory of the last night, like zero. We kind of know now that it was because of the of magic, but he's like, this is stupid. You should just lie to me. I'm gonna torture you anyway, and but he just kills it. They kill the dude in a really gruesome way, where like they like crush up glass in a bag and then pour it over his head and start kneading the glass into the dude's face. It was really messed up.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
like,
thinking about that. I was like, wouldn't the glass poke through the bag and through the
I'm
hand
assuming
too?
he had like gloves or something, like chainmail or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to
So yeah,
protect
it was,
him.
either that or I mean, maybe he's just that much of a sadist that he doesn't care, but I assume he had some sort of protection. We do get to see a little bit of the sisters that we heard about previously, the
The Barangia sisters.
Brangius, yeah. They're like his executioners and all badass.
Oh, the guy that did the sack with the glass. I find it funny. His name is Sage Kindness.
Yeah.
He's completely opposite of that.
Yeah, he seems pretty gnarly. And then basically he dismisses everybody in the Kappa and talks to Locke, and he's like, "Hey, Locke, um, things are going crazy. So my sons are like super hot-headed, and they need like a person to talk them down. And you're like the most prudent person I know. And Nazca seems to like you and stuff. So how about you like marry my daughter and you can talk them down because you'll be like a brother-in-law." And Locke's like, "Shit, but I have to say yes." So yeah, it was really
But
funny.
before he went in, he Nazca had intercepted him and told him, "Is like, look, I can't tell you what he's gonna ask you, but you just have to say no." He's like, "What the hell do you mean? I can't tell him no."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, if weird are coming from me, it has to come from him." And so he's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, that would be weird."
Yeah. So, but he accepts because he kind of has to. And then he talks with Nazca and she's like, "Yeah, we're not gonna go through with it. We just need to buy some time. And plus, I know you're still in love with this mystery Sabitha lady." And he's like, and Locke's like, "God damn it, everybody knows about that. The whole town knows." Which is funny. And then
Everybody, even the
everybody
horse.
yeah, even the whores know. Then basically he tells all the general ambassadors about what's happening. They're like, we should leave. And he's like, "No, we kind of can't. We need to keep going." That's kind of the end of the show.
Yeah, I really did love the like the world building in this entire part, not just this chapter, was great. There's some real huge uh, moments that just like the world stuck, the imagery stuck in my head, and I was like, that's really cool.
Is it just me, or does it seem like he describes stuff more in this part than in part one?
Yes,
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah, it seems like his like writing style changed a little bit. And they started doing a little bit more flowery descriptions and stuff. It was interesting.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. I don't know if I don't know if it was because he wanted to open up the world at this moment.
Yeah.
Um, if you think about it, like the first part was all about getting Don Salvara set up.
Yeah.
So it was like really niche and like honed in. Um, and then this one is like drawing back the curtain, like, oh, hey, what you thought was going to be the amazing plot of this book was actually just one subsection. Now look at all this stuff over here.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of that with the shifting revelry or whatever. But just felt like this section was like, hey, we're gonna like describe a lot of stuff way more than we did in part one.
Yeah. I got a few other little things. They're not all connected.
Yeah,
But
go for it.
I got like this chapter right here. I got like slight Goonies vibes from it. I was like, oh, this is like kind of fun with all the treasure and just meeting going out on the boat and whatnot, and the kind of clockwork, like the clockwork doors were fun. Um, and one of the things that stands out, like I was mentioning, the imagery, the door to Kappa Barsavi's room had 12 different, like I think up to 12 different keyholes, and Nazca turned around, blocked the view, and put it in the correct one. I would assume that if you put it in the wrong one, more like lockdowns might occur.
Probably.
Would make sense. It wouldn't just like not open, because then you would just like,
Or like an alarm or something.
yeah, you could just go through all 12, like, oh, which one is it? Oh, I finally got it. um, let's see. The I really like the childhood friendship mechanic with Nazca and Locke.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know
Yeah.
why. This is named after, the book's named after the dude. It was really refreshing in what seems like kind of like a sleek world. Um,
Yeah.
so
Too bad she something happens to her earlier. But
yeah,
quickly stops that plot. This I would just say this entire section, it really reminded me some of Game of Thrones. Not in like, what I mean by that is like Game of Thrones does a lot of stuff where they have, in the books especially, they have like chapters and stuff where they plan stuff out. So you're like, oh, okay, this is the storyline of the next 5 chapters or whatever. And then it will do something in like the third chapter or whatever, and you're like, oh, I totally don't expect it. Like he sets up stuff and then like subverts it by that way. Some of the stuff with like the Red Wedding, in particular, where there's like plans made for after that particular event, and you're like, oh, okay, that's gonna be fun. And you're like, oh, no, that's not gonna happen anymore. So it has a lot in this section, which was really fun. So I like that sort of subversion.
yeah, and I think those expectations being set up and then subverted in that manner make for a bigger response, right? Because like, without going into spoilers of what the Red Wedding is, you know, the plans after the Red Wedding, it's like, oh, okay, I can't wait to see that. And you get excited for it. And then the Red Wedding happens, and you're like, oh my God, well, now I don't get to see that. I really wanted to see that over there. It's like,
Yeah, but now you're like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Yeah, yeah. If you somehow avoided spoilers of the Red Wedding, congratulations.
yes,
I wouldn't want to spoil it for you.
yeah.
So
Don't go Google it if
yeah,
you have,
don't Google it.
if you don't know what we're talking about and you're interested in reading Song of Ice and Fire series or watching Game of Thrones. Don't go Google it. It will be one of the most biggest spoilers of your life. So, um, let's see. Oh yeah, I did right here. Like 10 coins per year is living comfortably, and they have over 43,000 crown. So it's like, okay, you could live for what, 4,300 years.
Yeah, it seems like Locke's character is just he likes the thrill of the hunt, basically. It's not for the money, it's for the love of the game.
And in they live in the Broken Tower, right?
They have
Or
rooms
they have
there
rooms there.
that like they feign living there, but they live in uh the basement
Oh, the
of the
scene later
church.
on when they're leaving the Broken Tower, that was like one of my like hilarious scenes I've ever read in a book. Um, but anyway, the vault is beneath the temple. Is that correct?
Yeah, so
The vault
basically
is beneath the
the
temple of Paralandra.
yeah, because you basically have the Temple of Petalandro and then basically a bat cave with all their like shit, and then the vault is in. They have like a couple of vaults, I think, if I
Yeah,
remember.
there's three vaults, and like two of them are 10 feet deep, and they're elder glass tubes, which I thought was interesting. interesting because they're like, we don't know what this elder glass really does or these tubes are functioning as, but we're just gonna throw all of our treasure into them.
Yeah.
Um, and later I made a note later on because as the section this part went on, we got more and more about elder glass and uh, cat bridges and things that were left behind from the Eldrin, and it's just interesting. I hope he explores it more instead of just leaving it um, kind of ambiguous or nebulous. The prejudice against the Eldrin and the technology that they left behind kind of reminds me almost of the Tower of Urithiru, where it's like,
Yeah.
what do these things do? Well, let's like, and so far nobody's like really trying to figure it out. They're just like, yeah, we'll leave those things alone.
It to me it kind of reminded me of like Mass Effect with like the Protheans. Like they're like a precursor race almost. And like they all died off and then like humans came. Because I don't know, it's purely conjecture. Like if humans existed when the Eldrin arrived, or if like they all died off and then humans came around. Like it's interesting either way.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea too. That'd be cool with Mass Effect.
Yeah. The Reapers come down. I don't know.
Oh God. Uh, all right.
But yeah, we can go on to the interlude, The Boy Who Cried for the Corpse. So just like all the interludes, they are in the past. So Locke starts his training, and basically there's some stuff with the twins. He ends up becoming the leader of them, like he through like friendship and stuff, and like clearly that they want to abdicate responsibility to Locke because he has all the fun plans. And then they get a mission from Chains from a black alchemist named Jesselyn.
Oh, before we move on,
Yeah.
uh, there was a detail in the previous chapter that at the time of the meeting with uh, Kappa on his boat, Father Chains has been dead for 4 years. So like, remember last time I was like, I totally missed that he was dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been dead for 4 years.
Okay. I wonder if the flashbacks will get up to that point in this book. 'Cause I assume the structure is the rest of the books. It's going to be like an era situation where each book has flashback. I
I
actually
could
don't
see
know.
that. I could see that being the case.
Yeah. Yeah. So they get a mission from a black alchemist, Jesselyn, comes back later. They're like basically like underground alchemists almost. They're like not official. And she wants a fresh corpse because they do experiments on corpses and you need it fresh. So that's their mission. He's like, hey, you get to do it. Don't do anything crazy, Locke, but get it. Um, then we get like him scoping out executions at the Black Bridge in the palace. And, like there's lots of good descriptions on that. That's a pretty cool little place.
They're kind of like Jesselyn is kind of doing the Master Kyburn thing.
Yeah,
It's look at these half dead zombie-ish people.
maybe that'd be kind of cool. And then basically he's like, "Hey, Chains, can you get me the names of people that are being executed and some money?" And then basically he talks to the clerk and like basically bribes her, and then like they get it's kind of weird. Like they lie that they're like doing as the priests of Pelandro, and like they're gonna they get robbed fakely, and like we freak out, and everybody's all appalled at them for like that something would happen, and they get some money, and basically they're able to like get this body by being the priest and get some money still at the same time.
Yeah, like it was Callow Robbed Locke of the money from the Temple of Paralandro, and then like one yellow jacket came up, like the person called their grandkids and everybody's like, here's some coin. And so they got everything that was stolen plus more back.
Yeah.
Um, and then like when they returned, like Father Chains is like, everybody's been telling me that they're really sorry for what happened. Why is this? It's like, well, they're really sorry for what happened.
Yeah, so they are able to pull off the con and get the body and get some money. So yeah.
Now, are you done?
Yeah, it's kind of what happens.
Yeah, uh, I thought the guy that came in at the end was suspicious. I don't think I connected him to anybody, but he was described as a well-dressed man in a forest green coat and a four-corner hat. He came and dropped a lot of coin into the kettle and like kind of gave him a smile, I believe. Um,
Yeah, I don't know who that's anybody.
yeah, I wrote a note here to be on the lookout, and I was not, in fact, not on the lookout for the rest of the section because I just remembered that he was there. Um,
Yeah.
oh, there was some the spider cages were cool.
Yes.
They hold people and they're constantly raised and lowered, so that they never get rest until the the jailers are like, okay, yeah, they've had enough. Um,
Yeah, they go insane.
yeah, and then the cat bridges are cool because they're narrow glass arches, and like they're each one is only I think shoulder width. They have rope that you can hold while you cross it, and it's been declared they're usually in pairs, so they've been declared one way bridges, and there's even a ducal decree that if somebody's going the wrong way on them, you can just shove them off into the water.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, more world building this um section, which is cool. Yeah, those things are kind of crazy.
And then the last thing I thought was interesting of note, probably just coincidence where I think Locke said 20 years of health, mentions that to the clerk. It seems it seemed ominous to me because present day was 20 years later. But then later on there was a like somebody else said like 100 years or 1,000 years of health, and so it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's just like, yeah, I'll just give you like here's a 5 years of health. It's a little prayer for you. 20 years, it's a bigger prayer, 1,000 years of health. Like, oh, what did you do to me? Like you did something amazing for me. So just the grandness of like the prayer, if you will.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Um, yeah. So he did his first little mission, and more importantly, he is now the leader of the Genoan Bastards because he got the twins on his side. All right, we can move on to chapter 5 unless you got anything else.
Um, no, I wrote down details of the different things that he was being taught and learned. Just because they'll probably come into play whenever like you get to certain things like, oh, okay, this is how he learned it.
Yeah, he learns like accents and
Not
languages and
right
all.
here. He learned the accents later, but yeah, Vadran language and how to cook and how to write and etc. So
Yes,
he's
he's.
an improper Vorin man right now.
Yep. All right, chapter 5, The Gray King. Dun dun dun. So Locke starts off getting more money from the Donna and Kote. It's kind of funny. They're each kind of taunting each other because he's kind of being a little shit, but they're like, oh, but we know what's gonna happen to you. So I'm smiling while handing over this money because you're fixing to die or whatever, which is kind of fun. Um, then he's kind of walking away. He's still in his birthright disguise, and he gets kidnapped. He kind of just like falls unconscious, by the Gray King and a Bonds Mage. Then we get like a kind of a lore dump on the Bonds Mages. They're a guild of mages that through like kind of force. Um, and then they use magic. We don't really get too much like we don't get any standards and rules, but they have magic and basically they don't allow anyone else to be a mage. They like will kill them or force them to join.
That was
And
a
then
funny story of it's like, hey, how did that happen? It's like, well, one guy went to another guy and said, hey, join me or I will kill you. It was like, oh, hey, I've always wanted to be. And then they go to the third person, like, hey, join us or you have to fight both of us. It's like, okay,
yeah,
I
and we
guess
learned
that might
that
work.
yeah, apparently it did. So, um, and we learned that if you kill a bonds mage, the rest will come in retribution and kill like everybody you know. So you can't really do anything against them. Pretty scary. Then we kind of we get Locke kind of like waking up, and we actually meet the bonds mage. He has the bird. It's a hawk scorpion, which is pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, that was a really cool thing. It's like a,
it's like a chimera almost. Yeah. Um,
was it an alchemical like a
yeah, he made it. It's we learned that it's his familiar, and you can like see through its eyes and stuff. Um, Locke is very much a little shit. He like insults the bonds mage, and the bird like really fucks him up. I'm like, Locke, he should not be such an idiot, but it was kind of funny.
oh, they also cost they cost an exorbitant amount of money, 1,000 crowns per day.
Yeah.
So they're like
So
wondering, it's like, how long is the Gray King? How rich is the Gray King, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, we learned that the hawk's name is Vestris. And basically the Gray King comes and he's like, "Hey, I know everything. I've been keeping tabs on you. You're screwed. Uh, guess what? You can do what I say and live, or I can tell Captain Barsavi what you've been doing and screwing up his secret peace, and he'll murder you." And Locke's like, "I guess I will do what you say." And so what he wants is Locke to take his place in a meeting that he's setting up between himself and Capra Barsavi. So he wants Locke to play the Grey King because he wants to be doing stuff while that meeting is happening. And he's gonna provide the like what he has to say and his like costume and everything. And he's also gonna give him his bonds mage to help him out. And he says that hey, I have a way to get him to come talk to me, but I'm not gonna say it quite yet. And Eloc's like, all right, well, fine, I guess so. And then he also gets a candle that he can light, and it will like summon the bonds mage, which is kind of crazy. Um, then kind of the end of the thing, he like comes to. It's been hours. He's in kind of like an alley. He runs back to uh the last
Last mistake.
mistake. Yeah, last mistake. Meets Jean and the Gentleman Bastards. He basically says everything, and they're like, okay, what are we gonna do? They decided to keep doing with the Don Salazar ruse and scheme because the Great King was like, hey, I'm not gonna interfere with that. I don't really care. And he's like, all right, but we're gonna make some contingencies. Uh, we're not gonna leave by boat because that's too suspicious. We want to leave like right away. We'd have to wait. So they get the twins to get a carriage, and Locke and Bug are gonna get their money out of the vault, and then Jean is gonna
Just be by himself because he's got his wicked
yeah
sisters.
yeah he's got his Wicked Sisters, which is a cool title for his twin hatchets.
It is really cool. And like this as a this moment, like you're just like, why is Jean always by himself? And then later on, you find out like in the last interlude in this section, you're like, okay, Jean is just like this badass.
Yeah.
Actually,
And
no, I
then
think we start the we learned in the next interlude. We start the
yeah.
chapters on.
And then basically, at the end of the chapter, Locke gets summoned to go meet with Kappa Barsavi by a pair of red hands, which is his like muscle. And he's like, all right, well, we'll see what happens then. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
chapter.
I liked the chapter. Um, Kind of Locke got at first he thought it was um Conti that drugged him. And you mentioned that Conti was like he knew what was going to happen to Locke. Was it is they
No,
thought that the Midnighters were going to
no, it's basically like Conti's in on the thing that Locke is a thief. So they're all like,
they
so
both they everybody knows that
yeah. So like
ferrite is not real.
Locke is teasing them, and they're like teasing him back, being like, you're gonna get got by the Midnighters and stuff." They don't know about the Great King or
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that was funny because he was like, I can't do too much because then I'd let them know that I know that they know.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, that was funny. There was a little bit that caught my eye in this thing where Locke is looking at the Gray King and he says his smile looks familiar to him.
yeah. He's somehow yeah,
So, obviously there's a mystery air about the Gray King. So, um, I was trying to think of like all these people that he meets in these past interludes. It's like, oh, is the Gray King going to be one of those people? Um, so we shall see.
she'll see. I don't have any theories or anything right now.
Yeah, I don't have any theories right there. Did I write one at the end? Oh, I did write one, but yeah, that's not right because unless there's something else at play. But I totally missed that Tesso of the Half Crowns was killed earlier, but at the end of this whole part, I wrote a note saying that the Gray King could possibly be Tesso, but unless it was a dual persona and he pretended to kill himself off, that's not gonna be
Yeah, he doesn't
feasible.
seem powerful enough to do it. So like, I don't know, like I think they would recognize like the Duke or something. So I don't think it's like that. But I don't know why he would
But I mean,
kill. It's got to be
people
like
don't recognize Locke when he's in costume.
true. It's got to be somebody that Kappa Barsavi like screwed over when he took power, right? It's got to be one of those like he created like a Kaiser Sose type character.
You see, I was that, or by the end of it, I was thinking it was um, somebody that Locke fucked over. Just because of how Locke gets screwed over in the meeting,
Yeah, I guess it could be both.
or both, yeah. Because like Locke totally expected to, and we could talk more about it in that last
Yeah,
interlude, but Locke totally, or not interlude, but the last chapter itself, totally didn't expect to lose the protection that he lost. So
yeah. Even though it makes total sense in hindsight, it's like he just needed all of the Kappa's guards out of the last resort and everything. So
and yeah, I mean, I'll say it right now so I don't forget, but also it having the Gray King taken care of
yeah,
uh makes Kappa Barsavi have a false sense of security. Um And he was like, I'm going to open everything up. Everybody's going to come here. We're going to all have a big party. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the exact opposite of what you were doing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he needs something in like his like that he owns or something. And that's why he had to get everybody out of the castle.
But also, I didn't mention this earlier, but whenever in the conversation between Nazca and Locke, as the door closed and she was saying, we'll get out of this somehow, she winked at Locke. Um, so like I was thinking, it's like, okay, Nazca, whenever the rumors or whenever it first came, it was said that Nazca was dead. I was like, oh yeah, she's not really dead. But unless it was a somehow different body or whatever, um, then she is. I believe she's totally dead.
Yeah, I think she's probably dead. I mean, there are like black alchemists and mages, so who knows? Everything's on the table now, but I think probably she's dead.
But
But
yeah, I mean, they did want that fresh corpse back in the day,
yeah,
so who knows what happened there.
yeah. Anyway, we can go to the interlude. Jean
Jean,
Tannen.
that's a
Uh,
really good name.
yeah, it is.
It's a French
Jean.
name living in Italy.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. So obviously flashback. Locke is training. He learns a bunch more stuff.
Accents.
Yes. He is sad that he's always going to be small because he missed a bunch of meals when he was a child. So he's not like short, but he's not. He's like he seems to be perfectly average in almost every way, which is kind of funny. Yeah, he starts accent work with the northern tongue. He does it with the dude that gets paid in booze, so it's kind of funny. Um, and then the thief maker comes and basically sells Jean to Father Chains. Um, he can read, write, and speak three languages. He can do math because he was a merchant's son. We learned that his parents were killed in a fire.
Five
Um,
nights ago.
yeah, 5 nights ago. And we have like Jean is instantly kind of like doesn't like the new kid. He's takes attention away from him, things like that. And he's like, yeah, this guy's not a gentleman bastard. Blah 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 blah. He keeps crying all the time and like bad mouthing Jean. And Father Chang is like, shut up, he is. And then Jean comes in and he's crying. And Locke kind of like, so we're all orphans. It doesn't matter. Your mom, whatever. He like badmouths his mom and then gets the crap kicked out of him, which was funny. That's a theme throughout the book that Locke sucks in a fight. So yeah, he gets his ass kicked and then he's like, yeah, all right. Yeah, and then that's where he learns that his parents died 5 days ago. He's like, oh, all right, that makes sense. And then later at dinner, uh Father Chains puts down these determiner boxes, which is basically an abacus, I guess. Maybe a cooler version. And then he gives a bunch of like math puzzles, and John is way better at luck than at the math. So he's like, God, gosh darn it, I suck. And then they do some stuff where it's like, oh, you can't eat, and then like eventually you can eat and stuff. And Locke accepts Jean as a gentleman bastard. And then we get some little bonding time at the end where Locke apologizes to Jean about what he said, and Jean apologizes about beating him up. And he turns out Locke gave stole some glasses. So he gives them to Jean, but he's like, yeah,
These don't help me.
these don't help me. I'm nearsighted. These are from farsighted people. Um, and he's like,
Actually, I think
it
it's
might be,
I think
it
he's
might be the opposite.
short-sighted because he does Lynch does this thing where like he takes language that we understand and things we understand and uses a slightly different word.
Yeah,
So here he used far blind. So I think it's people that can't see far. So
maybe.
nearsighted, so they see close, but they need something to look far away,
Yeah.
and vice versa, near blind. And so yeah, that was funny. He's like, "Hey, I stole these things. They're right, nice and expensive." And he goes, "Oh, well, that was a nice gesture, but these are useless to me."
Yeah, he's like, I'll use the frames in case mine break, but thank you. But they do bond, and then he's like, I never stole before. Can you teach me how to steal? I need to get a death offering for his parents. And he's like, Locke's like, yeah, I'll teach you, and then in return, you can teach me how to do math.
I want to
And
know who's going to teach them how to Dougie.
mhm, gotta teach themselves.
No. Uh, yeah. Now I don't have too many notes on here. I thought the reality check, like Chains used Jean, uh, to kind of bring a reality check to Locke because Locke thinks he's like hot shit and all this stuff, and um, it's like I'm the basically going to be the ruler of the gentleman bastards. Like nobody can tell me anything. He's like, well, you know what? Um, there's dudes that are bigger than you, and I am still in charge. So have some humility. And then I started thinking about the death mark, Locke's death mark, and how it has been mentioned. So I'm curious, especially in present day, it hasn't been mentioned. So I'll be curious to find out what happened to that death mark.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, this section is very much setting up Jean as like the second main character, which is good. So yeah, we get to chapter 6, lamentations, but not of their women, but maybe hear the lamentations of the women. Yeah, Conan is not.
Limitations.
I read that totally wrong. But
Yeah,
anyway,
not lamentations. I was like, why are you saying
lamentation makes sense for what happens in it, but yes,
yes,
limitations.
limitations?
Maybe I think it might have autocorrected. No, it didn't. I just read it totally wrong. Hey, whatever. It works both ways. My version, I'm gonna change it to that.
You purposely put this in for conversation
I did, yes.
and humor.
Ah, yes. I wanted to have a little levity before the darkness of Nazca's dead. And she was delivered in a barrel of horse piss, which is pretty messed up. Um, it's Locke seems to think that she was instead killed by the scorpion hawk because there's some like markings on her neck. So and then with the body was also the message of where to meet, and it's at the Echo Hole. Ooh. Um, and he's like, "All right, we're gonna go with like all my best dudes, and Jean and Locke, y'all are coming with me." And he's like, yeah, God, all right, fine. I kind of have to do it." And also, I'm very mad that he is, he killed her or whatever. But he does a little thing where he's like, hey, maybe he has a bonds mage, and maybe he started off, you know, on his own and then hired him recently to do it. So take take some precautions and things like that. And yeah, they're gonna have to figure out how to get out of this, but he agrees to join them. Um, then they're all kind of figuring out what to do. The bastards are trying to figure out what to do. And then they end up basically being like, all right, we're gonna go with the Gray King's plan because he has the bonds mage and we can't do anything about that. So we're screwed if we go against him. And then we're gonna figure out a way to get out of going to the retribution. And then yeah. And then, they all kind of get their assignments about what to do, and then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna summon the Falconer, the Bonds Mage, because this was messed up what he did and stuff like that." Uh, and then the Falconer comes. He's really annoyed and about walking up a bunch of stairs. He's like, "What the hell? I'm a magic user, and you should show me respect." And then he like basically was like, I screw you, Locke, you're annoying," and kind of like basically force chokes him and does a lot of crazy stuff. We do learn that Lamora is not his real last name. Dun, dun, dun. And he's like, "Yeah, if you like screw with us, I'll just kill all your friends. So go away, stop screwing around." And then Locke is like, tells Jean what happens. Like, that was a bad idea, but let's go to the whorehouse.
We find out also that the Falconer can communicate telepathically.
Yeah, yeah, he's got
Um,
basically just familiar, which is cool.
Milo he talks in his head, right?
Yeah, it's his familiar, mage, magic familiar.
Locke hears the
No, no, no. Wait, what did you say?
Locke. So the Falconer can communicate to Locke,
Yeah, sorry. It's weird
um,
that he has
telepathically.
it's weird that he has a bird and it's also named Falconer. Yeah,
Well, he is the Falconer,
yeah,
and then like he has a name. I suppose, but they just call him the Falconer.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the Falconer can communicate telepathically. But later on, I have a question because that something totally like didn't line up for me. But
Okay.
um, so yeah, sorry. Before you went further, I just wanted to point that out. There was an interesting detail in that last
Yeah, there seems
subset.
to be no limits to this dude's the power, so I guess we'll figure out if that's true or not.
And the torturing actually reminded me more, less of Force Choke and more of like uh the Forsaken, like Grendel,
Yeah, yeah.
where her pain torturing. Because it's
Yeah.
like almost like full body, like, oh God, this sucks. Like, so
Yes. Yep. So yeah, Locke takes up the twins' offer of going to a whorehouse, which surprises Jean. And then it turns out he is still
John joins
pining.
in.
Yes. He's still pining after Sabitha and cannot get it up. Um, but yeah, and even the whore knows. It's like, yeah, there's only two redheads here, and we kind of know what you're looking for. And
Yeah,
he's like, God damn it, even the prostitutes know about my troubles. And yeah, so it's kind of
yeah. Uh, that was that. My only note was we find out that Sabitha is a redhead. So he doesn't like blondes, but he likes redheads, right?
yeah,
Not blondes. It
yes, that's
reminds
the one.
me of um, there's a Netflix show called Love on the Spectrum. Christy and I watch it.
Hmm.
It's a guilty pleasure. I really enjoy it, but basically it's like a reality dating show where they try to match up people who have autism, find them dates and love partners. And there's this one guy named Connor, um, who he's very dramatic, and he loves fantasy books. He loves um, the TV show, the Game of Thrones TV show, and everything. He always talks about Daenerys, but uh, he also said at one point, he's like, I would never date a blonde. And it was funny because he was talking about this, and then like his mom is like, because they set him up on a blind date, and his mom kind of had a slight reaction to him saying, I would never date a blonde. He's like, wait, you know something you're not telling me. And I was like, yeah, well, she's a blonde is like, what? Why would you keep this from me? Uh, and I don't remember if he said it or if it's just an internet joke. That he's like, um, either he said it or it was an internet joke where he goes, I guess I could make an exception for Daenerys Targaryen. Um, but anyway,
Yeah,
he'd be all for, maybe he wouldn't be all for Ygritte because he's all for Sabitha.
yeah.
Right?
See that? Yeah, so more uh mentions of her. See if she shows up this book or not. All right. Yeah. So stuff is starting to hit the fan. It hasn't quite gotten there yet.
No, but
Uh,
very
we,
interesting guy.
yep. Uh, we got interlude Brat Masterpieces. Um, so we've jumped basically to the summer after Jean has joined. Um, Father Change is like y'all all kind of suck at fighting. Locke, you're always gonna kind of not be good, but we're gonna teach you how to like stab people clandestine style. But Jean, you have like the temper and the build for it. You're gonna go learn how to fight at the House of Glass Roses, which is trains. It's like the best academy in Comore that teaches fighting. Um, so basically, we get John going to it. We get some cool descriptions of like the house and all the like you have to like weave through these glass roses so you don't get cut and stuff. It's very cool. See some nobles training and they're like doing their own little thing, and basically we meet Don Marsala. Uh, and he basically is gonna train him to be a badass dude. He's training the little nobles how to like fight, but he's gonna train Jean how to kill. So yeah,
Yeah, I
cool stuff.
liked I liked the character Don Maranzella because like Jean walking through um the House of Glass Roses, like there was so much tension and like bewilderment because like there was basically not a whole lot of people have been there, and so it's like all these rumors like, oh no, the glass does this, like the glass comes alive. If you get pricked by the thorn, it sucks the blood out of your body. Like somebody has to knock you away and your blood goes into the wall. And so it's like, oh my God. And the guy leading him through is like, don't touch anything. And then of course, like after he like stabs somebody gets stabbed with one of the fencing knives, and Don takes it and he touches it to the thorn, and he John just sees the blood slake off the blade and into the wall and join the swirling red. I was like, holy shit, that's really cool. Like that's some fun ass descriptions. Like, um, yeah, so that was fun. Don Maranzella, like now he was a yellow jacket, so he wasn't a black jacket, but he was a yellow jacket. But he was kind of almost a decorated war hero, just for like shutting down like rebellions and stuff inside of the city.
Yeah.
Um, that's fun. Um, Oh yeah, this is a part where I wrote a note about Sabitha. Um, like maybe she's charmed, like maybe she charmed the hell out of Locke because she was the charmer. Um, and her being disappeared is she's playing a con with him and he hasn't realized it yet. So kind of a theory there. Um, a possibility. Um, the first paragraph here was where it was the caught fire of the city's elder glass rose glimmering in its place. Uh, it felt like the language of Elder Glass and its purpose kind of just hit me right there. Um, just overall, the writing is starting to work a lot better for me. I'm starting to pick up more details about the world by the phrases the characters use.
Yeah, I also think
Like,
it's more descriptive. Like I said, I really do think it's. Maybe I need to go back and reread a little bit of part one. So it feels like there's more descriptions.
yeah, that might be the case because like in part one, things were just like, oh yeah, it's like the whole fantasy thing is like, okay, I can spend 50 pages explaining every word and thing in the world to you so that you would understand, but then it would be boring. Or do I just throw you in here and give you all these capital letter words of things that exist in the world, and you're just like, okay, that's something fantastical that exists here, but I don't know what it is or what it means.
Yeah,
Um, Kind of like if you threw somebody into the Stormlight Archives, made them read the prologue of Wind and Truth first, and like it's just a bunch of nonsense.
yeah. I feel like that's true, but I also feel like he didn't describe things that much in the first part.
Yeah, and so like I said, he could have just been like, "Hey, I'm not gonna bog you down with world details yet. I'm going to pull you in with the characters, but I'm going to let you know that there's alien things in this world." Uh, but once he captures you with those characters, then you're in for it.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he purposely did that, but it works well as a headcanon.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't bad. Just it was something I noticed. It's kind of interesting. Like
Yeah,
it started with the like the rubbery thing where it's like, oh, okay, he's actually kind of describing the world a little bit more, and it's kind of carried over to this. So
yeah,
I could see him just trying to like get you into it, try to get the characters, and then kind of start describing the world piece by piece.
and there was another thing I was going to point out that he's kind of setting up here. Um, Not necessarily a plot, but I wrote that it was page 358-ish, 358, 359. There was some kind of comment where you get the information that Tal Varar, like they are known for their clockwork contraptions. So it's like, oh, like Italians are known for pasta food, right? So we got at least one district. Is Tal Varar a district or is it
I
a
think that's a country.
okay? Yeah. Um, you get like, oh, these countries actually
Yeah, they have like
well,
specialties and
where's that word? Sorry, I lost the word I was going for. They're proficient. Did you say proficient?
yeah,
Okay, yeah. They're proficient in these specific things. So that's fun.
yeah, and we get a little bit with the Bonds Mage, what country they're from. I forget what it is, but yeah,
Caltane, Carthane,
something like that. Yeah.
one of
So
those.
yeah, so the world's opening up a little bit. I did
I
have to
think it's
look there.
Carthane. Caltane is a character in Throne of Glass.
Yes,
Okay.
could also be the same thing. We don't know. Maybe she's from Locke Lamora. Um, but yeah, good stuff. I really like because one of the things I was missing a little bit in the part one was the characters. Because like Locke, he's like so far not really a character to me. He's just kind of like the smart guy that has the plan. And he's like slowly getting more and more with like, his relationship with people and I can't fight. He's getting more traits, but at the beginning he was kind of just like the smart guy that has all the plans. So I was like really missing kind of characterization. And this part we get way more characters. We get, a lot of stuff on Jean. For as little, we get some Nazca and we like get some fleshed out actual character. It's fun. And
Yeah.
he's a good foil for Locke, Jean.
Yes.
I could move on to chapter 7 unless you got anything else.
Nope.
All right, out the window. Uh, this is where they roll a bunch of natural ones on their stealth checks.
This
Um,
was so hilarious, especially
yeah,
section 5.
yeah. Uh, so so they have a basically they go over a plan what they're gonna do. John and Locke are gonna chill at the Broken Tower, and the twins are gonna go get some stuff from Jessalyn, the Black Alchemist lady we met in the interludes. So we have the Sansa twins. They go meet Jessalyn and her daughter. Who are a fun little
Just
pair.
allying.
Yeah, they have like a crossbows pointing at them because they're freaked out about the Grey King and all that stuff. So they basically want a drug that's gonna make Locke too sick to go to the fight, but then also have be able to get recovered so he can actually go play the Grey King. And she gives him the Barrow Robbers
Robbers Blossom.
Blossom, which is a fun little title for a poison. Which is gonna basically make him like super sick, like the worst food poison ever. And then she also gives them the antidote. And the twins give her a bunch of money and like, hey, you never saw this stuff. She's like, fine. Fun little like witch character. I hope she comes back. Um, but yeah. So then they got back. Locke takes the poison, starts throwing up everywhere. It's real nasty. Got really good descriptions of like the buckets of puke and the smell and all that. It was the audiobook's really good. So it was very
I need to listen. I do have the audiobook.
it's
Speaking of
good.
audiobooks, we're not sponsored by Audible, but if you have an Audible subscription, there are a lot of books that are highly discounted right now. So for less than the cost of 1 month the credit, um, you can get like several books in some cases, but a lot of books cost less than 1 month's credit. So if you wanted to buy them and you have that cash and not use a credit for them, now's the time. All right, back to our non
Yeah.
non-audible sponsored podcast.
I, uh, this is yeah, it's mainly for you, Brandon. Most of the Thermal Glass audiobooks are like 250, so up a bunch of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But yes. But yeah, the audiobook is good. It's a little he talks a little slow, so I put it up to 1.2 speed. It helped out a lot.
I
Um,
usually listen at 1.4
oh,
on
there you
most
go.
of my audiobooks.
It's a little too fast for me.
What was
Especially,
funny is when I listened at 1.0, I'm like, these people sound drunk and retarded.
yeah. Yeah, I haven't gone up that far, but 1.2 is working for me. But yeah,
1.4 actually, the timing um actually kind of lines up to how fast I read a book when I'm just sitting there reading. So
that's cool. But yeah, check out the audiobook. I like it. I'll probably get the ones for the next books too. But yeah,
it also really depends on the narrator too. Because
yeah,
sometimes when you do listen to one at a certain speed, the when you do speed it up, like some audio bits drop.
mm,
So depending on who the narrator is and their accent or whatever, it might become unintelligible.
yeah. He does the like fantasy Italian pretty good. So
And
I like
in
it.
this one, I do have this book, and I remember, um, I think the thief make it was either the thief maker or Father Chains' character. That's
Yeah,
like,
Father Chains is pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah.
lock.
Uh,
I remember. I just remember. I think the thief maker said it, but the phrase "lock after your father, Lamora," just like the way
yeah.
he said it. All
Yeah.
right, back to
Last thing on the audiobook, the voice for young Jean was pretty good. It was very like, yes, sir. Can I have another? Like it was very like soft spoken and fun. Anyway, yeah. So uh, Locke is throwing up. The son. Uh, one of the Capobrari sons comes up and he's like, "Oh, you're so messed up. You can't go." And Locke does like the no, I can go. I'm not that sick. And he's like throwing up everywhere. So like yeah, the ruse works. He takes the antidote. He's looking real rough. There's real good descriptions of how Locke looks like shit. Um, and then they basically suit up. And Locke's like, I'm definitely gonna kill the shit out of the Grey King. This guy sucks. And this maybe that'll happen. We'll see. And then they head out the window. There's basically like they can climb down on some like vine terrace type thing. Uh,
Yeah, it's like a lattice
yeah,
work
lattice work thing.
um, that has vines growing in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going through, and it's going pretty decent. Until the fifth floor. Basically a lady kind of like climbs out the window.
No, no, it's a man.
I thought she was out of the window, and then like the guy was like, "Come back."
No, because she lives there and he was climbing
Yeah,
out.
yeah, that's right.
And because her we find out at the end of the chapter his her husband was coming up. So he's climbing out the window. They happen to be like stuck right there. He doesn't notice that they're right there.
Yeah,
And she's like, "Go down, climb down." And Locke is like, "Yeah, climb down, dude." And he's like, "What the fuck are y'all doing up here? Y'all peeping?" Like, and so then he starts fighting them, and
yeah. He goes tumbling to the ground.
yeah, because the lattice work breaks at that point, so they can't continue to climb down. He falls down to the ground. They go into the window. Like one of them kind of kicks themselves in, which ends up like kicking the lady. She falls down. The man, she's screaming for help. Her husband runs in
He's like
and
dead drunk.
he's like, "Oh, it takes two men. Yeah, of course it takes two men to replace me." And she's like, "They attacked me, kill them." And so then they tussle. Um, and then whenever they knock him out, she's like, "All right, now you'll have to throw him out of the window." And they were like, "Lady, pick a fucking side."
Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah. It was pretty ridiculous. It was very hectic. It was funny.
uh,
Uh,
yeah. And then they exit down the stairs,
yeah,
and
and
the Falcon follows them.
yeah, the scorpion hook. Yeah,
Yeah, the other bit in this chapter, which was pretty funny, was when Jean was just pouring Oster's Holland brandy on the tarts. He, he's like, "I guess this was what it feels like to just swallow gold."
yeah. It's funny.
Oh yeah, by the way, all eight of the Throne of Glass books, if you buy on sale without using your credit right now, is the cost of 2 months of Audible subscription. So $32.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Save yourself credits. You know?
Exactly. But yeah, so that was a crazy little like side adventure that if the plan actually happened would totally screw Locke is up. But since the plan went to shit anyway, it doesn't really matter. I was like, how is nobody gonna know about these two people climbing down and like, oh, who that? Like, it was very much like very bad for them, but since the plan didn't go anyway.
Oh, and it was Jean was it Jean that was like, no, he's gonna go and turn us in because they recognized us. And Locke was like, a guy that big? No, he's gonna say he was jumped by 10 men and blah blah blah. So they're like safe.
Yeah, a little. faulty logic. He was just kind of hoping, but yeah. Um, but yeah, so that was they rolled a bunch of natural 20s, or natural ones actually. And still got away. They leave to go to the meeting. And then we get to the interlude unless you got anything else.
Yep, let's.
Very very fun section. Up the river. Um so basically they're playing a fun card game where uh Father Chains is cheating and like he's like, hey, the game is actually showing y'all learning how I'm cheating. Then you'll be really good. But also, Locke, you're gonna go to a farm and work at a farm. Locke's like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then so then we get a bunch of like geography lessons in this. We learn about the five towers of Comor, which are like ancient elder glass towers where the rich people live. And like there's like gondolas basically connecting them with like
Glassine cables.
yes, which is pretty crazy. Um so yeah, basically and then we basically go through the town and we learn a little bit about each different little like district basically. Um and so they're posing as a different priest, Dharma Elza, something like that. Uh
Dama Eliza
yeah, something like that, yeah. Uh
in Villa
basically
Cinciano.
yes. And basically the whole point is for Locke to learn about poor people and how they interact and speak and things like that. So he can propose as one and it will help him in his training. Then we learn about the difference between yellow jackets and black jackets. Basically, yellow jackets are the city guard, while black jackets are like more of the outskirts and northern guards and stuff like that. We learn a little bit that there's like a rivalry between them. I don't know if that'll come into play. We'll see.
Aren't they like the actual like soldiers? Like the black jackets I took were more soldiers, less guardsmen.
They're like both kind of like
Like
yeah,
military police maybe or
kind of.
oh yeah.
I got like basically when he needed levies, he would levy from them and stuff like that for guards. But I think as they're like kind of both. Um, they're more like they seem to be stationed out in the like rural towns and stuff too. So maybe they're just like the actual military that are in keeping the peace far away. Anyway, we learn that he was once a black jacket. And only three boys from his town that signed up survived the wars. It was him, Vandros, uh,
Who's the person that
that
he
Locke
got
is
sent
gonna,
to?
yeah, and the dude that's training Jean is also one of his companions. That's kind of how he has the hookup, getting everybody trained, and and yeah, it's kind of like, and he's like, all right, you're gonna be on your own. Kind of show me what you can do when you don't have any supervision. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. I made a note here that these flashbacks work well in this book. I've mentioned that before. The extra note I wrote here is unlike Justin's feelings on the Stormlight flashbacks. Like there's not too many of them and they're well placed.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
a
they are every other chapter, but there's still not too many of them.
they're usually like half as long as the regular chapters, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, another thing. One last thing is Father Chains basically left the Blackjackets because he got sick and was gonna like the army left him and he was nursed back to health by a cleric of Palalandro. So maybe that's where I don't know if he was recruited from them or just like found that idea, but it was interesting to know. And yeah, that's kind of the flashback.
Yep.
Yeah. Father Change just has hookups everywhere, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I wonder if that farmer is gonna come back into play. Be kind of cool.
Yeah, I keep trying to figure out like Gray King. So
Yeah, I don't think it's him, but maybe. We get the final chapter. Unless you got anything else.
nope.
All right, chapter 8, the funeral cask. All right, we get a very cool description of like the funeral procession of Nazca and all like it's very like anime with all the different like captains and like how the religious ceremonies are happening with like the 13 gods and all this crazy stuff. It was really cool and how all the like the people in like Wild West they, like close their windows and stuff and the guards are all like bribed away so they don't get in their way. But says, ooh, funnily enough, they're not going to like the cemetery, they're going to the Echo Hole. And that Nazca body is back at the last resort.
Mistake.
Last mistake, yeah.
Yes. The cask that they're bringing around is empty. Well,
Oh,
it's full of
it's
piss.
full of something, yes. Yeah, but that was a fun little like introduction to the chapter and very cool. You can really see like the anime styles of that little section. And then we get Locke and them. They're getting ready. He's getting ready in his disguise. There's like some cool like makeup that the twin puts on him, that, like ages him, does some crazy stuff. Um, then the mage is like, all right, let's get ready. It's time. So
I
basically,
made a note here.
yeah,
Oh, they were when they were all shouting and like the Falconer's like he thinks they're all just lunatics. Like the bastards are all lunatics.
yeah, they have this little like oath or whatever that they say whenever they're heading out.
You're a liar because blah 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 blah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Is that
Yeah,
is that what that was?
it's something like that. Yeah. Um. Yeah. The meeting happens. We get a fun little procession of like all the different people in Captain Barsavi's like gang coming up. And then they all shoot him with crossbows, and he like basically has a force field around him, so all the crossbow bolts plop down. And then a nervous man named Eamon, he starts coming up. And Brasavi's like, Eamon, go get him. And he Locke's like, what are you doing? I don't want you to die. It's gonna be bad. And he basically tackles Locke to the ground because the mage is betrayed him and he's captured by the Kappa. And he says that so basically Locke is captured, and then Barsavi is kind of like gloating. And he says that basically one of the members of the Great King's crew came to him and told him about the uh, how basically that he has a bonds mage and how to like stop him and like all sorts of things. Obvious ploy to get them out. That was definitely maybe even the Great King himself. Um, and then Locke decides not to reveal his identity, and the the cask is not does not have Nazca. It has a cask of horse piss. Very gross. He is thrown into the cask. Um,
Head
head,
first.
head first. Very not good. And then they basically toss the barrel into the ocean.
And so was it Bug and Jean? They were hiding out under the floorboards, like between the floorboards and the water. Is it?
Yeah, something like that.
I was trying to picture exactly what was going on because in the echo hole there was a the room they were met in. There's a circular hole, almost like a fishing hole in
Yeah,
the floor. Am I understanding that?
I think so.
Okay. Um, yeah. I was going to ask earlier, but I guess I didn't interrupt you. The right people of Camor, is that like, I mean, it's capitalized right people. Is that just like a kind of a tongue-in-cheek way of saying the ne'er-do-wells, like the thieves and the things, or is that just like just the general term for the citizens of Camor?
I kind of thought of it as like the all the underworld people.
Okay, that's what I
Uh,
thought too.
yeah, kind of
Because
what I
when
thought.
it first came up, I was like, "Oh, that's funny that they call them the right people." Because they're definitely not the right people.
Yeah,
They're bad people. Um,
yeah, like he said, he's gonna throw a lavish party. Um, so yeah,
uh, yeah. So prediction, which seems obvious. The Grey King used this whole thing to get Barsavi to open up more. So now he can get to Barsavi more easily. And at the same time, while he was out, obviously he did something.
yeah,
Bug and John will obviously rescue Locke.
yeah.
Um,
Kind of crazy
so,
if he just is dead.
yep, he's dead. No more Locke. We never learned the lies of Locke Lamora.
Yeah,
Um, so there was a bit where he was calling out, like hoping that the Falconer would talk to him, and a voice entered his head, but he was like, "That's definitely not the Falconer." Is it the voice that was saying "sewn up"? I was confused. Like, was that the Falconer or was that not the Falconer?
I was confused. I thought it was just the Falconer.
Like, I thought it was, but he said that voice is definitely not the Falconer. What chapter is it? Um,
That'd probably be that'd probably be part three.
okay.
Probably.
All right. So,
Yeah, I was a little confused on that one myself, so I just thought it was probably the Falconer.
thought it was on the left-hand side of a page.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find this. I should have wrote the page number down whenever I. It was like sewn up, sewn up.
Yeah.
I hate that I'm causing silence, so I'm just talking.
Yeah, I mean we can cut this if you want, but yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. So an episode of the little voice at the back of Locke's head that was most certainly was not the Falconer. Sewn up, sewn up. Of course, the Falconer hadn't been distracted or taken. Oh, that's just Locke saying that's right. It's just Locke being like, I'm stupid.
Okay, so it's almost like a if you go to Mistborn, just like a voice inside his head,
Yeah,
just
it's
kind of
it's
talk.
not. No, it's more like he's just like, oh yeah, I've been sewn up. I've been sewn up. Like it's not. It's like a affect with thing. It's not like a mystic one.
Okay.
That's at least that's how I see it. Maybe it is. It was a little. I don't know why it was written like that. Because if he's just like you lock things sewn up, man, I'm sewn up neat as a like in a bag. I'm so screwed. But it is confusing that it's written like it's definitely not the Falconer.
Yeah. It's like, is somebody else in his head? Is there another?
Which it could be. It could be a different thing, but it seems like it's just that he was like berating himself, but kind of like being a fool.
Gotcha. All right.
All
Uh,
right,
final interlude.
Fighter and Loot. The Half Crown War. So yeah, so he's we don't get anything about him as a farmer. He's back chilling at the temple. Um, and then basically they run into a turf war with the Half Crown, which is a gang of ch another gang of children, kind of below the real gang. Yeah, the Full Crowns.
Like
And
the
then
minor league gang,
basically,
the feeder gangs.
yeah. And they get in a fight with Tesso, and they get their ass kicked because they don't have a Jean with them. And then so they tell Chains that, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, but it means you're kind of moving up in the world. You're getting noticed, and guess what? You're gonna have to go defend your honor and beat them up, basically." And so yeah, then they have like another scrap, but Jean's there, and he's just such a badass that he beats them all up. And then basically the war continues, and the half crowns can't beat Jean, but none of the other general ambassadors can beat them up. So their plan is to like basically split up in the smaller groups and then like pick them off when Jean's not there. Uh, and then basically Locke uh makes a plan where he's going to be hanging around the market alone with Jean far away, and he basically ties himself to Tesso and gets his ass kicked. But he's like, "Ha ha! Ha, as long as I hold you, Jean's gonna come and beat you up." And that's what happens.
Yeah, and so the ending of this one, where it's like, "Hold you until Jean gets back," and he's like repeating it. Um, it makes you think this chapter. It could be this, uh, where it's like obviously it said the figure of Jean was on his way, but it leaves it open like, oh, he's just getting his butt kicked, and he's like, haha, well, when Jean shows up, you're gonna be in big trouble. And it's like, yeah, well, is Jean gonna show up? Um, but obviously, since in present day he's still hanging out with Jean, then he did show up at some point. But this could be the flashback that caused Jean to not Jean, Locke to be like sewn up. Um,
Yeah, I think it's
Maybe.
also foreshadowing-ish a little bit, like how much he relies on Jean, and that Jean's gonna save him from the barrel, which we already kind of know is gonna happen. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of more cementing their relationship and maybe some future stuff.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. The next section is like next part is only like 90 pages.
Yeah, Revelation 9 to 11, like 3 chapters.
516, 500. So it ends at 516, page 516. Yeah, so less than 90 pages. Chapter 9 is titled A Curious Tale for Countess Amberglass. Countess Amberglass. That sounds cool.
Yeah,
All right. So yeah, we will cover that next time. It'll be short, obviously. Did we decide
man.
did we decide that we were just gonna read through um all three books instead of flip-flopping between the other series
Uh,
for that special to get to that special thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna finish the entire series before that, but
Well, I mean, it's just open-ended, so but
sure.
yeah, I
Um,
would I would like to have all three done before that special event happens.
sure.
Yeah. So
I Yeah, I'm enjoying these well enough. It's not like my favorite thing in the world, but it's fun.
yeah, I really like them. I actually you mentioned it's not my favorite thing. I have a hard time quantifying actual favorite things. Like Jules asks me all the time, "What's your favorite such and such?" I'm like, I don't know. Like ranking them, like giving them an actual rank is hard. It's like I have a lot of things that I really like. Like these things I really like.
Yeah,
Which one do I like the most? I don't know. I like them for different things, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah. I'll say I mean, it's very good so far, and it's definitely grown on me. I think the first part was a little rough. It might have just been because the introduction and everything and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm
I always
done.
get nervous when starting a new fantasy series because I'm like, a whole new alien world. Like, all right, am I gonna get completely lost in the sauce in the beginning or um
Yeah, it's not too bad for this one.
yeah, this one's not bad at all.
But yeah, you should figure out your favorite things. It's fun.
Yeah.
Next time on the podcast, he will say his favorite thing.
Yes, my favorite thing. So, all right, well, if you have made it to the end, congratulations. And like, follow, subscribe, share, leave a rating or review, all those things. It's fun. I mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast. Don't forget to visit our sponsors website, www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code Paperweights to save yourself some money. And we will be back next week for part 3 of Lies of Locke Lamora. Catch y'all next time.